If you're like me, you probably have a pretty distinct way that you view the world. And oftentimes, when you're talking with somebody, this can lead to some conflicts in the way you view the world versus the way they do, and that can lead to some problems. Hey, if you don't know me yet, my name is Dean Ray, and I'm a coach here at the Sales Gym. And let's go ahead and dive into how we can steal from the world of improv to navigate this kind of a tricky part of the conversation. Now, in the world of improv, one of the things they do is they use this technique called yes and. And the reason why they use this is if you're on stage and you're doing some kind of a scenario or acting out a scene, and somebody rejects the premise of the scene as you're trying to act it out, that's going to kill the momentum of what's happening and really create an unpleasant experience for everybody involved that creates a lot of friction. So instead of disagreeing with the premise and saying, no, I want to do this instead, they say, yes, I agree with your premise, and let me build on it. And that gives you ability to accept what's happening there and connect with the people who are already involved in the scene. And then it gives you a chance to use your own creativity to push things in a slightly different direction. And when you're having conversations with people, you can basically do this same thing. The error most people make whenever they hear something that they disagree with as they're having a conversation in their personal or professional lives is they say, yeah, that's interesting, but right? And this but lets them know I'm negating everything I just heard from you, and I think you're wrong. And whenever you tell somebody that you think they're wrong, it hurts their pride and it leads to an immediate defensive or even attack posture style response. The better way to approach this is to look for things that you agree with in the premise, even if you disagree with what they're saying as a whole. And then what you say is, yes, I see where you are coming from, especially with this aspect of your premise. It's really interesting you bring that up. And here's in addition what I like to add that I think would be really interesting for you to think about or for us to talk about. And by doing this, what you do is you let them know, you know what? I see you, I hear you, and I understand where you're coming from. And let's go ahead and build on the idea that you just brought to me. And let's look in a slightly different direction to see what we can do there. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're making sure there's less conflict in your conversations, you're lowering the friction there, and you're making them more open-minded to what you have to say because you're not inherently rejecting them and creating a confrontational style conversation. So as you're having conversations with your spouse, with your kids, with your family members and friends, or your work colleagues, the prospects and clients you talk to on a daily basis, instead of having that urge to say, yeah, I hear you, but try using the words yes and instead and see what happens.